Lindsey Graham is locked in a battle. Jamie Harrison has raised $5 billion or something like that against him. And Lindsey Graham, most of the time when he's on camera these days, he's begging for money. But sometimes he's saying things that are even more unfortunate, including this.
For President, is that you're not aware of any effort to go back to the good old days of segregation by a legislative body. Is that correct?
That is correct. And I've also said that in lectures that Brown was correct as an original matter. So that is the kind of thing, since I've said it in writing, I felt like I could express before the committee.
Okay, so right there, he makes a reference to the good old days of segregation. Now, spoiler alert, he's gonna say that he was being very sarcastic and everything. We'll debate that. But that was obviously while talking with Amy Coney Barrett on day 3 of her nomination hearing. Gary, what did you think about that little quick reference to segregation in that particular way?
I don't ever think it's a joke. And I think that Lindsey Graham, like most racist white men, find ways to say things that are racist and bigoted and hateful. And then they say, oh, I was just kidding. I wasn't serious. You guys knew I was playing, right? Did we? The good old days of segregation. Nothing about that's funny when you talk to a black person. When you recognize that black people were denied the right to use a bathroom. The same bathroom as Lindsey Graham. When black people were denied the right to water fountains. When black people were denied the right to sit where they wanted to in public transportation or to go into a restaurant. The good old days, Lindsey called them, right? There is nothing humorous about that. There's nothing funny about that. And I think that Lindsey Graham is vile. I think that he is clearly a coward, right? He said all of these horrible things about Trump, and now he's just like, Trump's biggest fan, and he supports the president, and that's disgusting enough, right? But then while you're running against a black man who is probably inches away from defeating you, you make a joke about segregation. I hope Jamie Harrison smacks him so hard in this election that he has no chance at redemption. I hope that Jamie Harrison defeats him handedly, because he's just terrible. He's terrible, and when we excuse micro racism, that's how we end up with all of the bigots in the streets with guns, because this guy, a United States senator, is saying the good old days of segregation. And for anybody who's saying, oh, he was just joking. Well, let's talk about joking about white folks being in slavery or segregated at any point, and see if anybody thinks that's funny.
Yeah, exactly. No, they think that right now white people are actually the biggest victims in the entire country. And so Jamie Harrison tweeted a response saying, Lindsey Graham just called segregation the good old days. The good old days for who, Senator? Although of course we know it's 2020, not 1920. Act like it. Although honestly, a lot of people on the right, they don't seem like the way that they talk about race it doesn't seem a century apart from 1920. Now, as I said, he says his comments were dripping with sarcasm, and he referred to the era of segregation as dark days. Thing is, like, Lindsey Graham isn't 20. Like, he knows at least some of, the period that we're talking about. Like, we have a couple of comments from oh, sorry, continue.
The question I always ask, the people who were in the photos with the signs when black kids were integrating schools, where are they now, right? I wonder if there's a picture of Lindsey somewhere where people were integrating and his parents or he were outside, upset about it, or what was said at Lindsey Graham's kitchen table when schools were integrating, right? Because clearly your family, Lindsey, thought those were good old days, because that joke would never come out of anybody in my family's mouth. Nobody black that I know would ever jokingly say the good old days of segregation. In sarcasm, we would not say the good old days of segregation. And to white voters who think that that is acceptable, it's just wrong on so many levels. But this is par for the course for Lindsey Graham.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.